I Don't Get It
Podcast. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the I Don't Get It podcast. We are going to be talking to people with interesting careers, unique jobs. I don't want to call them weird. They absolutely are not. But, you know, we do an occupational series, and we have a couple people that have very interesting occupations. So we're going to talk to a selection of them. And we're going to start out with this one. Are you guys ready?
We're ready.
We're
ready to listen.
I am ready to find out the unique things that people do for work.
This one is very on brand for a lot of the past podcasts we've done. This woman, she works basically like at a sperm bank, or not just a sperm bank, but she also does egg donations. So it's egg and sperm donations, and she decides who is qualified for that job. So it's pretty interesting. She's basically like a filtration center for let's see, what's the word? Gametes? I think the scientific word is gametes. So, Lauren, is the right term here gametes?
So,
what are sperm and egg? What are
an
those?
embryo.
An embryo.
An embryo. But that's not an embryo. An embryo is when a sperm and an egg meet.
Well,
so,
exactly.
What are the two individuals called?
Eggs and sperm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ashley wanted to be more scientific. You're first in her bubble.
She's so let down right now. She's like,
Lauren,
those are the names. Ew.
So, like,
Lauren,
Yeah.
Lauren, what do you explain what you do? Because I'm sure you'll do a better job at it than I.
So I work for a large fertility clinic, one of the 6 largest fertility clinics in the U.S. And basically, I build their third-party tissue bank. So I build egg donors and sperm donors, a portfolio, if you will, kind of like an Amazon marketplace for intended parents to go on and kind of scroll through females and males and pick who they want if they need help in the fertility segment. So either sperm or egg.
Okay, so first question that pops into my head. Are you picking hotter people over less attractive people first? Because that's what everyone wants.
So yes and no. So
and when I say hotter, I mean subjectively hotter to society's crazy standards that don't make sense.
So
Okay.
like when an intended parent goes on, and I say intended parent because you can be moms or dads or have 2 dads or identify as anything else. So when an intended parent goes,
Especially in your field.
Exactly.
I'm sure you see a lot of lesbian, a lot of gay couples because they need the other part.
Exactly. So the first one that's going to go is someone that genetically looks like them. So
That makes sense.
it's going to be like either blonde hair, blue eye, or if they're really interested in, I don't know, whatever you're interested in doing. And the next one is height. If you're taller, you're more inclined to get chosen.
Wow. Literally, tall people just win at everything.
I know.
It's honestly wild. It's like if you're a tall woman, you can be a supermodel. If you're a tall male,
you can get laid more.
or you could be a professional basketball player, and your
Have more
eggs get picked
friends.
first. And your your sperm. Yeah. Your sperm and eggs get picked first.
Yeah. And then, but I've been doing this for a while, and subjectively speaking, the hot people do go first all the time. And as soon as I get an application,
That's wild.
really, it like kind of almost doesn't even matter what you say. I mean, we have a very long questionnaire, and from the first picture, I can tell whether you're going to get chosen really within the first couple weeks or not.
You literally said it doesn't even matter what you say. This is, pretty privilege at its finest. It's like a dating app.
Yeah. But then, I mean, so part of the area that I cover is the Bay Area. And so people are also looking for highly educated people. So if you're smart and pretty, your chances are very, very good.
So are you in charge of like the arrangements with the couples, or are you in charge of actually saying to a donor, we approve you, or we do not approve
Yeah,
you?
so basically I sit on a site that almost looks like Facebook, and I get probably 1,000 friend requests a week. And I go in.
Ha! This is fun.
And I go in and I read their profile just like everybody else, and look at their photos, and then we ask for childhood up to current photos, and basically I judge them like all day long,
Wow.
males and females, and then move them on. Obviously, there's so much testing that goes after I move them on. I mean, you're getting psychologically evaluated, you're doing genetic tests, you're doing background checks and all those things. But I'm kind of that first barrier that will either move you on or say no.
The Bachelor auditions of sperm and egg donation.
She's basically a professional judger of attractiveness.
I know.
What is one thing that would definitely have someone not be chosen? Because you haven't even seen the genetic testing. This usually I would be like, oh, the genetic testing. But what do you say no to?
So we
Short
have
people.
rigorous.
Yeah.
You have to be above 4'11". So if you're a female, we can accept 5 foot, and then and really as tall as you want. I've had as tall as like 6'1" females that will go through, and then if you're a male, you're really not going to get chosen if you're like below 5'8", 5'9". Really not going to happen. And then but for like females, we have like BMI requirements, height requirements, age requirements, education requirements, and so forth. So it kind of has to be like I could not donate my egg. My BMI is not good, and I'm over 29. So
What the heck? I'm starting to feel a little funky about this because it's like, are we just creating a like supreme human race that's just all going to be tall with like high intelligence and low BMI, and like, isn't there like a lack of diversity and humanity that's
Like
happening?
ugly idiots have babies all the time, you know?
I mean, and you can choose I've seen couples choose just ideally like what their high school crush looks like. Like they want someone that, I don't know, looks like, I don't know, Chris Hemsworth or whatever. And they'll go
That's
through
crazy, Lauren.
and they'll find the person. Yeah.
What's the most odd or sort of jaw-dropping request you've heard from people or you've been told to look for?
I've had someone say that they don't want to know who it is, and that's kind of like luck of the draw, and like just kind of say, okay, whoever comes out, and just give me like your most popular. I always think that's kind of
Most popular.
I mean, most like people that don't want to spend a lot of time, they're just like, okay, I'll take what I can get. I think always that's a little bit crazy.
I don't understand why the education is important, because isn't that all like I don't understand, like it's nature versus nurture, or like
Shouldn't it be an IQ test instead of
an IQ test maybe than education, because like the baby hasn't gone to college and isn't going to go to college or maybe whatever, you know?
That's what I was asking before. I was like, are there studies proven that is a thing?
I know. And then basically it's like your own view of whether nature versus nurture. Like if you think that you can raise a more inclined person to be intelligent.
That's true.
And so, I mean, and that is funny, and it's a good question, but I would say 95% of the independent parents that I work with, education is on their top 5 things for an egg or sperm donor.
So how did you get into this? Like, how are you qualified to pick these people?
how are you qualified to qualify?
No, exactly. Well, mostly they just kind of give me a rough outline. I was working, so I have a 10-month-old, and when he was born, I needed something that I could do from home, and I was working for the fertility clinic, and so it was just kind of barreling down to, okay, we need someone to sift through all of these applications and build our egg and our sperm bank. So
I would love to do this. I would love to judge people for a living.
You already do this. You just want to get paid for it. Which other, Lauren, I have a question. Because your mind is always sifting and sorting, during the day for your occupation, when you go out to a restaurant or you're out in the world, have you ever thought of or walked up to someone and been like, yo, your sperm would sell for so much money?
100%. And I just want to say that, like, for women, we start the compensation at $8,000. And so it really just takes like a month of being on IVF medication and doing an egg retrieval. It's about 6 to 8 weeks of like medications and monitoring. But I mean, like, especially where I am right now, Asian and Indian donors are very hard to find. And like, we're starting compensation at like upwards of $10,000 to $12,000.
Wow.
Is that because their cultures are just like not as keen on the idea?
Yeah, exactly.
And are you looking for it the most because there's a high demographic of those communities in San Francisco?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that makes up a lot of the patients that I work with. And so obviously they're going to want someone that looks like them. And then also those cultures aren't really inclined to do like egg donation. So when you find a willing donor, I mean, you can donate up to 6 times in your life. And really, like, by their 6th time, they're making almost $20,000.
Damn. Well, I always thought that I could fall back on this if anything happened in my career. But now as a 5'2" female with a Florida education, I'm not making scratch on this.
You're beautiful.
No.
You would totally get chosen.
Yeah, but I'm short and I'm dumb.
No.
Okay, she's absolutely not dumb, and she makes the
Short, dumb, and old.
Okay, dumb? Are you kidding? According to like the Bay Area standards, yes. I'm
Bay
at
Area
kindergarten
standards,
level compared to what conversations they're having up there at the bars.
Oh my God, I can't believe I'm at a stage of my life where I can't even donate an egg. You know, like I'm too old.
Wait, I can't donate an egg anymore? What's the age cutoff?
30.
29, she said, for girls.
God.
Oh, 30.
Okay, well, thank you for your time, Lauren.
So you have to finish your cycle, and we have to have the egg by the time the clock strikes 30.
Holy shit, that's so annoying.
Why didn't we have this podcast 3 years ago?
I can't be a stripper anymore, and I can't donate my eggs.
But I've seen people just completely live off of this. Like they'll take a year, like a gap year in between like college and whatever, their masters, and just donate every couple months and make like $100,000 in a year.
Is this is the age range and qualifications just for your bank, or is it for the nation?
Mostly all of them. Like fertility is just shown to drop significantly once you're 30.
Yeah, like I was gonna freeze my eggs, and like I could like give one if I already was freezing them, right? That would be good.
And we have programs for that. Like, yeah, you could go in and but we won't take them if you're over 30 though.
Will other fertility clinics take them?
She said probably not.
Probably not.
What?
But what about male sperm? Do you have a cutoff for male sperm? Well, male sperm,
This is going to really piss me off.
No.
Fuck everything.
Fuck everything.
Well, I heard that there is some science behind like young sperm being better as far as like issues,
We'll
like
take up to 45.
Oh, okay. So we're talking if obviously that sperm is a lot cheaper because we don't have to go. They don't have to go through that
retrieval
whole process.
Yeah.
So how much does a guy get paid for the single donation?
Like $200.
Okay.
Okay. Right. So he can have a kid out there for just $200.
And for everyone listening, we did a fascinating podcast on sperm donating. So please go back in the archives and listen to our I Don't Get It podcast on that because it was really interesting.
Well, and then you interview men and like, did you all see that Netflix documentary about the doctor that
Our Father? Yeah.
So you have men that really come on to donate and talk about that they think that they're just like awesome and they want 1,000 of them all over, and that's like a red flag, and we don't.
That is a red flag. Yeah.
I should take on your occupation just to low key just be interviewing potential suitors.
Yeah.
That's not a bad idea. I have one final question, Lauren, before we wrap up with you. To prevent the Our Father situation, just to let our audience that has not seen the documentary yet, it's about a guy who basically had like way over 50 kids like in one region of the country because of a whole bunch of wrong things. But how many men and women are allowed to donate their stuff? Because you said there's 6 eggs. You can give up to 6 eggs. This is so that we don't have a lot of inbreeding. This is to prevent inbreeding. So how many sperm donations can you make? How many kids can be out there with your sperm?
Really, until you're of age, you can donate every 6 months at our clinic. So
Okay.
we're going to get a lot more sperm than eggs. And then
But don't you have a cutoff? Like a man can only produce so many children that he doesn't actually like have in his household?
Guidelines for that right now. Like,
no.
That's why it's a whole ethical, bigger sort of conversation.
yeah, a man can donate as much as they want until they can't. So,
But there are so many more men that are donating, so I feel like maybe they just pick different men. Like women, you'd be like, oh, I want that one, because there's not that many of them. So maybe since there's so many more options for men, it's not going to happen as often. But
It's just the world is easier on men. Amen.
agreed.
That's what I learned for this
All right.
conversation. This was fascinating, though.
super fascinating.
Oh, thanks. It was nice to meet you.
Thank you so much for your time. We've loved having you. All right. See ya.
Thank you. Bye.
Well, Ashley, that was very interesting. And what's
Thank
so
you.
funny is I told Ashley before we started recording, I was like, is that going to be interesting?
Yeah, and we're like, yeah, I think so. I think that's always going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys are right. Now, a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. If you are someone that feels like you get stuck focusing on problems instead of solutions, aka like the worry, anxiety hamster wheel that most of us live in, you can actually get into problem solving mode when you're faced with a challenge in life if you open yourself up to trying out therapy. I was reading an article the other day that said that a lot of Americans, Lauren, are actually giving up on therapy. I forget which outlet wrote the article because of how expensive it is. And immediately I thought about BetterHelp because you and I love it because of how affordable it is, right?
That's kind of sad that people are giving up on that. I feel like it's so nice when I have a therapy session at the end of the day. And another beautiful thing about BetterHelp is that you have all these different times to choose from. And I know people are like, psychiatrists or psychologists or therapists usually work 9 to 5, but hey, guess what? We all work 9 to 5. So it's kind of hard to find a therapist on your own time, but BetterHelp has like later evening times. So when I see that on my schedule, I'm like, ooh, a nice little wind down, a nice little vent session at the end of the day. And it kind of just, it's relaxing. And if people haven't tried therapy, it's relaxing. It's not scary at all.
100%. And I feel like it makes you feel supported. Because at the end of the day, stuff's going to happen in life, right? We can never prevent stuff from not going down or triggering you. But if you feel like you have that support, especially like at the convenience of scheduling something with your fingertips, BetterHelp is definitely a great, great option. And it's affordable. So if you want to be a better problem solver, therapy can really help you get there. Visit betterhelp.com/getit today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/getit.
Okay. Well, next up, we have somebody in a different yet equally possibly as fascinating field. This is the woman who does polygraph tests, otherwise known as lie detector tests. So let's get Kelly in the room.
There she is.
Hello.
Hi, Kelly.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
We do hear you okay. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast and for showing your face. She was like, I've been so busy this weekend. I don't want to show my face.
Aww.
I'm so exhausted. You look great.
I was actually at the parole office all day doing polygraphs. So I came home and I did my own makeup. How's it look?
Looks
You
so
look
good.
fantastic. And you know what? We're not lying
Parted
about
my
that, Kelly.
hair.
We're not lying.
Whoa.
Squirted my hair with water. My gray's growing in a little bit, so I did a little bit of eyeshadow around the thing. And I'm
Did
ready
Ashley
to go.
tell you this is a mostly just audio only podcast?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I did.
Okay.
I was like, don't worry about it. Okay. Kelly, tell us about what you do on a day-to-day basis being a polygraph test administrator.
Okay, I'm a polygraph examiner. I'm also a private investigator, but that's a whole nother realm. So I am a certified polygraph examiner. I'm a certified polygraph examiner with the American Polygraph Association and California Association of Polygraph Examiners. So you have to join one of those organizations to become certified because, believe it or not, there's no licensing for polygraph examiners in California. So anybody can go pick up a polygraph instrument and go out and pretend like they're a polygraph examiner and really not get in any trouble about it. And we'll get to that in a moment. Anyway, so what I do on a day-to-day basis is I do polygraphs. I do polygraphs for attorneys. I do polygraphs for boyfriends, girlfriends, husbands, wives. And I do polygraphs for probation and parole. For probation and parole, I test only the registered sex offenders.
Oh, wow.
Because when they get out of prison, they don't no longer just run the streets. They have to show up at their parole office, probation office within 2 days. If they're on parole, they got to get a GPS around their leg. They have to immediately enroll into sex offender treatment, and they have to go, once or twice a week, depending on if they're high risk or low risk. And they have to do 2 polygraphs a year, which is what I do.
So what types of questions are you asking for these tests with the sexual offenders that are on parole?
Well, it depends on what their offense is. If their offense involved a minor, you better believe my questions are going to be all about minors. Have you had any contact with minors? Because a lot of these guys, well, if your victim is a minor, you will have no contact with minors until you're off parole. You will have no contact with your children. If you commit your offense, you have to move out, so on and so forth. So on my, I would ask, have you had any contact with minors? Have you had any contact with your victim? Have you been to any parks? Have you used, and it depends. Like a lot of these guys are internet offenses, internet, child porn. Well, they all have different terms and conditions. Like the internet ones will be like no going on the internet except for school or work. And you better believe that's going to be one of my questions. Have you accessed the internet at any time besides for school and work? So it just depends on what their offense is. But if it's a minor offense, it includes a minor child, it's going to be around that. If it's child pornography, I'm going to ask if you viewed any sexual content of minors since your last polygraph. So that's how it works with them.
So we know, from watching crime shows and such, that polygraph tests aren't admissible in court. It's not hard evidence. It's kind of like soft evidence. By the way, he didn't pass the polygraph test.
They do, like I tell people, they sure do help. They sure do help because the judge knows what a polygraph entails. Judge probably has had a polygraph. Judge knows that all police officers have to have a polygraph before they get their job. FBI agent, even if you go to work for an armored car company, you have to have a polygraph. So
there are certain medications that people can take to slow their heart rate and make them calm. Do you guys test for that before you administer the polygraph?
Well, if I detect anything, I'm going to say something. But most, because polygraph is all about the threat of fear of being caught in a lie. And I don't care if you're on a couple Valium or 1 Valium or whatever, because I would be able to pretty much tell. It's not going to affect anything. You're still going to react. And if you're so high that you think I'm going to go in there and I'm not going to react, I'm going to be able to see you. I put a spell on them and they just tell me everything. Tell me so much. And inside my mind, I'm screaming, why are you telling me this right now?
Oh my God, it's so good.
But I put a spell on them. I swear I do. I just have a way of, I'm like, this, yeah.
I have so many questions, Kelly. Okay, so I'm just going to blast a bunch of them off because I just want to hear your answers. So basically, first question is polygraph strictly based on heart rate? Second, you mentioned...
And sweat.
you mentioned that you can just tell. So what are the signs of if someone is lying or not lying?
No, I can. I can tell if someone's too high where they're trying to beat the test. I can't come in and tell if someone's lying. Although when you walk into my office, I do like you to make eye contact with me. What we monitor in Polygraph, because you asked about breathing. Okay, so we monitor we monitor changes in your physiology. Like I tell my people when they come in, I say, this is a lie detector box. It does not read your mind. It does not know what you're thinking. It's recording those changes in your physiology, and I'm able to see them on the computer. And I tell them the part of their physiology that we're monitoring is your internal defense mechanism, the one that is triggered by any level of fear, threat, or danger. So what we monitor is blood pressure, changes in blood pressure. I tell them when I put this on them, the doctor puts this on you because he wants to know what your blood pressure is. I don't want to know what your blood pressure is. I want to know if your blood pressure shoots up and down when I ask you different types of questions. Boom. Secondly, when we go into that fight-flight reaction because we told a lie on our polygraph and we're freaking out that we're going to get caught or fail the test, we have changes in our breathing. Pneumotubes, one around the chest, one around the stomach. So some people are chest breathers, some people are stomach breathers. Last but not least, the sweat gland activity. We monitor changes in the gland because I tell people when I talk about sweat gland activity, I'm not talking about the wetness because they'll be like, oh, I sweat. And I'm like, that's okay. We're talking about the gland activity because when we have that adrenaline rush, like, oh my God, I'm threatened by this test I'm about to take, we have gland activity. And we put two of these little plates on the end of two of your fingers. And so those are the three parts of the physiology that we monitor for changes: sweat gland activity, blood pressure, and breathing. And I tell them, hey, wow, I can hang other little components out of here and monitor other areas of your physiology, but we don't need to do that. That's a waste of time. These are the three main ones. So why would we do that?
Okay. So if you are like how I imagine I would be under polygraph, I'd be like, I know I'm telling the truth, but in my head, I'm like, wait a second. I'm going to psych myself out.
See what I wrote before I got on the air today or whatever I'm on? Nervousness and anxiety play absolutely no part in the results. Absolutely no
Wait,
part.
But how does that... This doesn't... Kelly, that doesn't make any sense because when you have anxiety, aren't you like more... You're literally... All three of those things are affected.
Are you breathing heavier?
Yeah. Nervousness and anxiety play no part in the results, and that would really suck because everyone's nervous, even truthful people. So let's say we're nervous and we have anxiety. Okay, we see that. When I hook the people up, I see that. Oh, he's nervous. He's having anxiety or whatever. Not anxiety, but nervous. And then prior to starting the charts, we calibrate the charts according to your physiology and baseline you out.
Okay.
And nervousness and anxiety because you're at a polygraph and you've never done this before. And this is different. That kind of nervousness and, oh my God, I'm lying on the polygraph and am I going to get caught? And am I going to be able to beat this test today? Oh my God, am I going to get in trouble? That's a whole different reaction. Like I tell my people, if we didn't give off a certain reaction when we told a lie, we won't be able to do polygraphs. And if polygraphs didn't work, we wouldn't be able to do polygraphs.
Couldn't you argue that a serial killer or murderer who doesn't show any sort of signs is with reactions bodily, like physically or emotionally, to murdering a person?
Because they're like a sociopath.
Yeah, like a sociopath than the average person would. How do those work in those cases?
Okay, so if a murderer comes in that's a sociopath?
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
Or anyone that's a sociopath that doesn't feel anything, so they don't really feel
right.
bad.
And to be completely honest, I've had a couple guys that have come in through parole and they just don't give a crap. They don't give a crap about the polygraph. They're not threatened at all about the fact that they're there to take a polygraph. They think it's ridiculous. They downplay it. And I've seen them run some pretty clean charts. But most people are going to react to their lies. Okay. Most people are going to be, if they're coming in to lie on the polygraph, they're going to be thinking something negative and a little bit threatening and a little bit of danger, and, oh gosh, I got to do this. And that internal defense mechanism, that fight-flight reaction is going to be activated. And that's what we monitor.
Kelly, you mentioned putting spells on these guys. Have you ever used your equipment on a lover or a partner or a friend at your house?
Of your own. Yeah.
Because I would be extremely tempted to do that if I was specialized in your occupation.
That's funny. It's a joke between my friends. I'm like, don't make me put your ass on that polygraph because a friend had.
Oh my God, I could never be your friend.
A friend had
I'd be like, I'm busy tonight.
Yeah, a friend had tickets to a really big concert, and I didn't go. It was one of your bands, Ashley. Anyway, and she's an older woman, right? And I'm like, no, I don't want to go. Okay. And then, because well, are you a Backstreet Boys? You're Jonas Brothers.
We're all.
But Ashley growing up was not Backstreet Boys.
No, I'm not going to go to the Backstreet Boys. And she's like, no, I'm not going to go to the Backstreet Boys. I'm not, that's not my thing. Anyway, so she told me that she was able to go up to the box office at the concert and get her money back. And I said, are you pulling my chain? She said, no. And I'm like, don't make me stick you on that polygraph. But that's what she said. She said that she went up and they returned her money. And I'm like, that is such bull. Can you imagine how many people would be doing that?
I know.
Yeah. So I will threaten. I haven't done. And,
I will.
And I'm single. So I don't have anybody to hook up. Not that I would do that. That'd be awful.
I would. Where do you buy one of these things? Because you mentioned at the top of your conversation that you don't have to be certified. So my first inclination was like, I got to get to a vintage store. I got to get one of these and have them in my house. But that is also the same reason why Caitlin Bristow, I believe, on her season of The Bachelorette, I believe we did a date where Caitlin did this.
Andy did one.
Or it was Andy. That's what it was. That's why they're able to do it on television like that, because of what you mentioned.
Right.
All right. Well, Kelly, I think we could honestly have you on for an entire hour, not just to talk about Polygraph, but just to laugh with you, because you are quite a fun personality.
Wait, can I just ask one question? Has your polygraph test ruined marriages? Like, do people definitively believe in that when you do couples?
Well, I wanted to talk about that real quickly. I do a lot of relationships, and I'm like, I think people are like my friends, and just people are like, how could somebody actually polygraph their significant other? And I'm like, you know what? I think it's like the last freaking resort. You want to believe this person. You want to believe them. You want to believe them. Deep down inside, you want to believe them. You're like, you know what? There's one more thing. You're going to take a polygraph. So has it ruined marriages? I think marriages, the guys or girls that fail, I think their marriages are doomed anyway, because obviously their significant other is sending them in for some reason, right? Yeah. But I've also made marriages better too, on people he's like, I really have. I mean, I literally had a teacher write me one time, and I still have the letter, and she's like, you totally changed my life. Because I'm like, my family's like, can you just go do the polygraph and not be their counselor also at the same time? Because I'm all about inspiring people. And so I'll talk to them about, hey, you know what? You guys are lucky to have each other. And, anyway, it's just me. It's just who I am.
Well, Kelly, we are just so lucky to have had you spread your wealth and humor on our podcast. Thank you so much for taking the time to tell us all of this.
All right, dear. Thank you.
Right, thank you so much.
See ya. Bye. Bye. All right. Next up, guys, we have Mary Kelly, another Kelly, and she is one of my favorite follows on Instagram and has been for a long time. Mary Kelly, thank you so much for being here. Seriously, I'm a little bit starstruck because whenever I see your Instagrams pop up, it's like one of the few that I'm like, I will watch this reel in its entirety.
Oh my God. I'm flattered. Thank you.
Stop. Thank you. All right. So basically tell the listeners what you do. They know that you do celebrity impersonations, or I don't know. Have I even said that?
You have not said that at all. No.
Guys, Mary does celebrity impersonations, and you can check them all out at your Instagram. What's the Instagram?
Mare_Kell, Mare_Kell.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she already has over 300,000 followers, and for good reason, because you are absolutely so talented. I am mind boggled.
Ashley, which one's your favorite?
I don't know. The Meryl Streep one is so good.
Oh yeah.
Drew Barrymore is classic.
Keira Knightley's incredible though.
Thanks.
Wait, I like Jennifer Coolidge. So can you do all three of those?
Let's do that. Okay, let's do them all. And by the way, audience, we are going to record this visual so that you guys can see all this. We'll upload it to YouTube and such.
Good. Yeah.
So, wait,
I was gonna say
before we get into all the impersonation stuff, we need to know like your background. Like, are you an actress? Like all this stuff.
Yeah, I am an actress. I went to school for acting. I went to Northwestern and studied theater there. But yeah, during COVID, like, and I've always done comedy and improv and stuff, and I'm a writer. But yeah, during lockdown, I was like, nothing was auditioning. Everything just went obviously like dark in the industry. And I was like, what do I like doing? What brings me joy? What makes other people laugh and stuff? And I've been doing like impressions for friends and family forever. And I was like, yeah, I'll just put these on the internet and see what happens.
Wow.
And people liked it. Yeah. But yeah, I'm an actor. I'm, in a national commercial right now.
Wait, really? Oh my gosh.
I'm in a Hilton ad right now.
Very cool.
Amazing.
And everyone, it's funny. People are like, oh my gosh, wow, she got famous as an actress off the internet. I'm like, I've been acting for like 10 years almost. So, but yeah, the internet certainly helps. So, but yeah, that's my origin.
Are you tired of certain requests? Are you trying to like always figure out a new celebrity to impersonate? And sorry to like double duty the questions here, but you started out like, I think your shtick was pretty much like mouth acting, because little do people know it's the way that people talk with their mouth that has so much to do with the impression. Everybody thinks like Drew Barrymore, right? Like that is the ultimate mouth acting, but you have shown me that there are so many more actors that are just very distinguished.
Yeah. To answer the first part
because
of your question,
their mouth.
I don't get sick of certain people, like, because the ones that I do the most often are often like the ones I really like the most, and like the ones I like, people tend to like too, like the Jennifer Coolidge and Meryl Streep and all that, and Drew Barrymore. But honestly, like a lot of my followers will say, not the like super loyal ones, like the ones who are kind of, sometimes people will be like, followers. Sometimes they'll be like, you need to mix things up a little bit. Like, why aren't you, picking new people and blah, blah, blah. So I will often like go, okay, like, let's shake it up here a little bit. But now I counted the other day, like individually, I've done like hundreds of different people at this point.
So cool.
It's
when
crazy.
did you discover that you could do this? Like, what was the first voice that you were like, oh shit, I could really nail that. I sound just like this person.
As a kid, I used to do impressions from the Austin Powers movies.
Oh my God, you have to do that.
I did like Fat Bastard.
Oh my God, you recall?
I'm Fat Bastard. Yeah, I used to do like, get in my belly, like doing like,
that's so good.
Scottish accents and stuff.
That's a great first one. You must have loved Shrek then too.
Oh my God, I loved Shrek. I used to do like Shrek impressions. I used to, when you're a kid, you do impressions of like the movies you watch.
Do you think you were good as a kid? Like you're like, I'm good at this? Do I sound like them? Or just other people were like, you sound like them? You're like, if you say so.
I've certainly like improved quite a bit, since I was a kid. But my parents, like, we used to have dinner parties and stuff, and they'd like bring me around to their friends and be like, look what she can do. Like, it definitely was a thing where I was like, oh, like, I think I have an ear for this kind of. But it, when you go to like theater school and stuff, you don't think, oh, this is a lucrative, like I should really focus on my like, Meryl Streep impression.
Well, if you want to be on SNL, you absolutely should.
Right.
Because who's the girl that does all
Chloe
the like
Fineman.
female and
Chloe Fineman. Yeah.
And she is just as much fun to watch as you.
Timothy Chalamet is iconic.
She's so funny. She is amazing. Yeah. And like, I started following her on Instagram a couple years before she, got on SNL and stuff too.
Oh, wow.
So it is like it's now sort of, I think the internet and TikTok and Instagram is really becoming a place for like people to find comedians and stuff. So
you said you've improved over the years. So what does that mean? Have you gone to a school? Have you taken classes? Have you watched YouTube videos to learn how to nail certain voices? Like, what's your process?
Yeah, I really, I watch a lot of interviews of people, and I kind of just repeat what they say over and over. I really like, people often ask like, oh, what impression are you working on right now? And like, I'm not like constantly working on them. It's sort of like, I'll sit like when I'm like in the mood to make a video, I'll like just sort of sit and do multiple takes until I'm like, oh, okay, this feels like I've got this person down, and then I'll just do it, record it. And then I kind of have it down for the next time I want to do that person. So it's not like every time I'm recording, I have to like look again, and see like, you know, what that person is like. It's like sort of a muscle memory thing that I gain.
You look in the mirror as you do it to like see
I was gonna say, how much time in the mirror is there?
I definitely look into my like phone screen, you know, and I'm kind of like, am I doing that? Like I kind of cross-reference and see like, am I doing this? Because I try to look as much like the person as I can too. Like actually what you were saying with the mouth acting stuff, like I think that's such a funny part of like that right. People haven't really like tapped into that much as like, and people go, oh my God, that's so true. Like, oh yeah, they do move their mouth like that. And sometimes people act that way, like in the movie, in like a movie or TV show, whatever. And then in interviews, they don't actually speak with like such an intense, you know, mouth movement. So it's a really kind of like funny, I love the idiosyncrasies of actors and stuff. So
I feel like you need to look at Joe Jonas's mouth when he talks, because Ash and I talk about this all the time. He's a very weird tongue thing.
He does.
When he talks.
Wait, what is it? What is it? What's the
I don't know. Like
thing?
his tongue like flailing around with doesn't make any sense.
Flailing around.
Yeah. He kind of like does like,
I'm like
a little like, yeah.
Okay.
I
So
know Joe Jonas
Okay.
knew the amount of times that his name is mentioned on the I Don't Get It podcast. He would be taken aback.
I know.
I love Joe. I love him.
Wait,
I love the Jonas Brothers.
Same. Is there an impersonation that's extremely difficult to nail notoriously for most comedians, actors? And if so, whose are those? Or for you specifically?
Yeah, notoriously, I'm not sure. I mean, I think a lot of people have been like, oh, I don't see a lot of like Meryl Streep or, you know, like sort of like super like iconic actresses like that. I feel like people sometimes shy away from them because, you know, they're like icons and it's really hard to like nail them down. But for me, it's Blake Lively is really hard because physically, I mean, she's so beautiful and just like the way her mouth exists, it's really hard to like copy, just like my own anatomy.
Like,
again,
again.
You'll see like next time you see her, like she's
Well, it's because she doesn't really move her mouth a lot, right?
Yeah, it is pretty like she does sort of a bit of like a mumbly thing.
Yeah.
But it's and like sort of just her tone of voice is sort of hard. So I try to get more of like her essence than like really like getting her like impression nailed down. But yeah, she's one of the harder ones. And Mandy Moore is kind of hard too.
Mandy Moore is hard,
you know,
but like it's so distinctive.
I think I think it's my just the way my voice sits is hard because her voice is very like nasally, like it's I have to work hard kind of to do her. I can do it.
It takes a lot of stamina for that one.
Yeah, I can't just like. It's not as easy to like slip into as some of the other ones.
Since this is an occupational podcast, do you get paid to be a celebrity impersonator? Like, is this your paid occupation or is this something you do on the side?
And do you make money on Instagram now that you have such a following?
TikTok.
I do. There is like a Reels like bonus thing that like you can get some money through. The TikTok Creator Fund is like not really anything in terms of money. But I do a lot of like partnerships with brands and stuff and make little like videos and work with brands to make kind of comedy ads essentially on TikTok. But to be honest, like it's really helped with my acting career. Just because, you know, it's like having a literal, like your entire body of work, just like online and people can find you really easily. So I'll often go in, for a job, and the casting director will be like, "Oh, I saw your thing," or "I like your videos." And
so cool.
So there is like, it's a really tough industry. And so any sort of notoriety for someone to go, "Oh yeah, I've seen her stuff," kind of, I think, helps. So
that's amazing.
It has helped in my career overall.
Yay.
How do you like make your actual voice sound like somebody else's? Because that is so mind-boggling to me. I can we've talked about how I can do Britney Spears or an old school Britney, and I can say one line. I go, "Oh my God, you guys, thank you so much. You're so sweet."
That's great.
Yeah, thanks. So, but how would you do Britney, like on the spot?
Oh my gosh. I don't even know what do I even say for her? Oh, she's like, "I'm skinny as a needle." Her like sort of like, she's like, she's got the vocal fry. Yeah. Really for me, it's like, this is such a lame answer, but it's like it's like becomes muscle memory for me. Mm-hmm. Like I just like listen over and over and over. And just like, since I was little, like I've just been able to hear someone say something or do something and then just like immediately repeat it back the same way.
It's a specific talent that you're totally born with. I feel like you can't even express and explain to people how to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. And definitely like over time as you do it more and more, you're like, oh, I'm really like getting in the pocket of like this person's voice. But yeah, I think when people are like, I don't even know, like I don't know what it is. It's just, I think I just have like an ear for it.
I would love for you to do Leonardo DiCaprio because I think he also has a very distinctive way of speaking.
I've tried to do him. Yeah. I've tried. Yeah, I really like love him. I like idolized him as a kid.
I mean, we all love him.
Of course. Much. I named my child after him. So.
Do you do any Kardashians, Mary?
I do Kourtney.
Oh, can we hear a little
pretty
Kourtney?
Easy. Literally, this is my Kourtney. She's got hard R's.
I hate her R's.
She has those hard R's. Yeah,
I hate those.
She's like the most specific, like vocally of the Kardashian siblings. It seems. I'll sometimes do like a like Kylie, like Stormy, that whole thing.
Yeah, that's so good.
Stormy, baby.
Her good night song or whatever that like went viral.
Yeah, rise and shine.
So good.
Yeah, I'll sometimes do her.
Amazing.
But yeah.
Yay. Well, before we let you go, if you are up to it, I would love to hear like a Jennifer Coolidge one because I'm obsessed with the White Lotus and Jennifer Coolidge.
Should we all just request one for her to do?
But Mary, you can totally say no if you don't want.
No, well, if you give me like a scenario, it's easier because I like never know what to say at these people.
Oh, that's smart. Okay, Jennifer Coolidge, either on the White Lotus or like working out or eating something. I don't know.
Okay. Okay. What does she say on the White Lotus? So she's like,
or you could do Owen Wilson.
Oh God, I can do both if you want.
Okay.
Well, Owen Wilson is really just like, wow. Yeah. Wow.
It's so
cool,
good.
Man. Cool. Wow. That's awesome. Cool. And Jennifer, with her, I do a lot of like, oh, like that. Oh, mother. What did she say on the boat?
Yeah, mother.
The shutties. Oh, yeah. By Jennifer.
Oh my God, when she's throwing her mother's ashes off the boat.
Oh my God. She was a dancer. Oh, that whole thing. Yeah,
it's so good.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever done this, but what about Mark Wahlberg ordering at an Italian restaurant?
The other day I was starting to do him. Oh God, how does he sound? He's like, all right, cool, awesome. Let me see if I can do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What are you talking about? Give me some spaghetti. Give me some spaghetti and some garlic bread. My best. It's my best, Mark.
Funny.
I have to practice him clearly.
I feel like Jennifer Aniston. You do good Jennifer Aniston.
God, Ross. I feel like we're on Friends.
So good.
Ross. I need like her hair down. She's always like,
so good.
God. Yeah.
So good. Okay, fine. One more. Okay, let's do Meryl Streep. Like annoyed with traffic.
Okay. Her little mouth. Oh, well, I'm on the 405, but there's traffic and I'm going to be late for my appointment. call my assistant and, well, I might as well enjoy it. Turn on the radio.
That is so good. It's so
good.
subtle.
Her in Devil Wears Prada is honestly her most iconic role. When she's like, "Can you get to Marshalier?"
That's why it's the easiest probably to do her in Devil Wears Prada because it's such a distinct character rather than her just in real life.
It's kind of like what I'm doing. Yeah, her in real life, she's very like like she's very like kind of like kooky, silly.
Wait, one last. I'm just curious. You don't have to do it if you've never done it, but because I'm getting ready for the Emmys and I love Severance and Christopher Walken is like a huge sort of iconic voice because he speaks so off kilter and off key, like exclamation marks in the middle of the sentence.
He talks.
Have you ever
take a
done
pause.
him?
Yeah. I do him a lot actually.
Can I hear a Christopher Walken one?
Yeah. What does he say in Severance?
He's say like he's going into the Emmys and he's getting dressed or something.
Yeah.
I guess I'll wear a tuxedo. Never worn a tuxedo before, but I'll try.
It's so good. I love how he speaks so much.
Me too. I know. It's like he's very thoughtful. He takes his pauses, but yeah, I'm obsessed with him.
Amazing. Well, Mary, we're obsessed with you. Tell people where to find you.
I'm at Marikel on every platform. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. MARE_KELL.
Amazing.
Marikel.
All right. Well,
thank you
good
so much.
luck with just growing the following and doing more and more acting because of it.
Guys.
So thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Bye. Well, my friends, what a fantastic, unique occupational podcast.
I loved everyone so much. You know, you're going to go see Naz Perez at the Emmys, and I think I'm going to look pretty good next to her.
This is why Lauren, like we told, on cruises, my parents were like, Lauren, go up there on the mic and do
Lauren's
some impressions.
so good.
So fucking embarrassing.
When you did Elizabeth Holmes, I died when we were first talking about the dropout because I'm also getting ready.
It's too
for
easy
that.
to do. Everyone can do that.
Well, wait, let me see your Elizabeth Holmes real quick.
Wait, who's Elizabeth Holmes? The girl from
the Dropout.
Dropout, yeah.
Yeah. Theranos.
Yeah, just
Theranos.
what's the top? What did she say?
It's an inspiring step forward.
It's an inspiring step forward.
Yeah.
Okay, Lauren could literally just, I think you could do this. I think you could be the next one.
Lauren, maybe you should dedicate. Well, Lauren has 3 new jobs she wants to do now because she literally was into all 3 of them.
I think the market has been tapped. Mary has tapped the market, and that's that.
Well, the other 2, you could be the professional judger of attractive egg and sperm.
I
or
love that.
You could buy a lie detector test. Clearly, anyone can, and just do it.
Yeah.
All right, fantastic
All right,
podcast.
well, guys, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll be back next week with a ramble.
Bye.
I don't get it.
Podcast.